Hi, my name's Heather. I'm a 2019 Fine Art and Philosophy graduate based in Dunfermline, Fife. My most recent completed body of work, Devila, explores territories of the uncanny, folklore and the occult, as well as taking influence from local historical witch trials. My practice lies somewhere between performance and photography, as I'm both author and subject of my photographs. Using imagery of the female body in woodland landscapes, along with the creation of a haunting atmosphere, I aim to give the suggestion that a story is being told. Using black and white film photography, I intended to tell a loose, ambiguous narrative, storytelling with symbols of the female body and forestry landscapes, exploring the unsettling, familiar yet unfamiliar nature of the two. Implementing scenes of a ritualistic nature in a woodland landscape suggests that the female figure dwelling there is some kind of otherworldly, even supernatural being, a witch. Focusing on creating an eerie, unnerving atmosphere, but doing so in a subtle way to mimic the way the uncanny operates. To have some images with the figure in them and some without displays an absence that will leave the viewer with a feeling of dread, searching for some sign of life. Forests have connections to innocence, as we see them to be the settings for fairy tales and childhood fantasies. However, there is no escaping the connotations of terror they possess. These two opposing ideas, rooted to the same place, is jarring, making it the perfect conditions for this eerie story. Leaving the plot undefined allows room for the unknown and the narrative to change with each individual that interprets it. When thinking about the witch, you cannot disconnect her from nature. They are entangled with each other. With this photograph here, I was depicting the unity between the figure and the landscape, and describing the fact that they are as important as each other. The landscape is the setting, but not just the backdrop. This series is a mixture between storytelling, performance art, and photography. I carved the landscape to depict a ritualistic scene, to give context to the environment. It provides a glimpse at what kind of thing or person inhabits these grounds, and what they use it for. With the dark grittiness of the scene as a whole, it is difficult to make out what exactly is going on, producing mystery and uncertainty. Digging, burying, or hunting. Titling this image The Hunt makes another reference to witch hunting. The imagery of clawing at dirt suggests scavenging or desperation, leaving the viewer with more unanswered questions. When capturing this image, I did not notice the human-like figure emerging from the roots of the trees. It was unsettling to only realise what was standing right in front of me afterwards, in the darkroom during the developing process. It is a complete serendipity and a perfect example of one of the many reasons as to why I love photography. Relying on luck and happy accidents to help achieve a beautiful shot is what makes it so exciting, yet frustrating, but ultimately so rewarding. Feathers and fur. That what is left behind from a life once lived is now blending back into the ground, going back into the earth once more for the cycle of life to repeat again. It is a subtle comment on the transformation from woman to beast, and could also allude to the idea of a witch and her familiar. Alternatively, this picture could be interpreted as simply giving further context to what the landscape is like, and to what other creatures reside in the forest. The only image where we plainly meet the womanly figure face to face. With scruffy hair, she does appear as though she belongs in the woodland landscape. With a gaunt look in her eyes, she doesn't look frightening at all. She presents very human, but how can you know for certain? A protective scene where the foliage is cradling the female figure. She sees you watching her. Are you infringing on her privacy, or does she allow it? Does her gaze towards you make your own stare feel uncomfortable? Does she hold the power, or does the viewer? It is unusual to see tree bark appearing so flexible and cloth-like. Has it fallen from the branches above, or has it been placed there deliberately? It is disjointing to see something so rigid appear opposite to how it should feel, and look nothing like what it is. The hanging bark symbolises decay, as well as describing and mirroring the collapsing environment that surrounds it. The word hanging is tragically associated with witch trials, and by using it here, it subtly connects the imagery with the suggested narrative. The landscape in this photograph appears completely unforgiving, a prickly barricade put in place to prevent anyone from travelling further. The branch on the right is pointing and coming out towards the viewer, so they understand that the refusal is directed at them. The following images are not from the Devila series, as I captured these images in East and West Weems, Fife. The location is different, but the ideas and inspirations are the same. However, for these, I was also inspired by a ghost story that is connected to this area, the story of Green Jeannie.